Welcome back to True Tale Stories. Today's story is about how a simple act of kindness changed the lives of 4 people forever. The afternoon sun cast a golden glow across the busy downtown street as 34-year-old Jake Morrison walked home from his small auto repair shop. His gray t-shirt was stained with oil, and his hands bore the marks of a man who worked hard for every dollar. Jake wasn't just a mechanic, he was a father, a widower, and someone who had rebuilt his life from the ashes of loss. After losing his wife 3 years earlier, Jake had dedicated himself to raising his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie. The community had helped him through the hardest times, and ever since, Jake made it a rule to return every bit of kindness he received. As he walked past rows of parked cars, he suddenly heard the familiar sputter of an engine failing to start. He stopped, listening, the repeated click of a key turning in vain, then silence. He turned his head and spotted a sleek black sedan across the street, hood open, steam rising faintly from within. A woman in a navy business suit stood beside it, frustration written across her face as she spoke on her phone. Beside her, in the passenger seat, a little girl about Sophie's age sat watching, her small face filled with worry. Jake's instincts took over. He crossed the street and approached with an easy smile. "Excuse me," he said, "looks like you're having some car trouble. I'm Jake Morrison, I run the auto repair shop just down the street. Would you mind if I take a look?" The woman ended her call, studying him cautiously. "I'm Elena Hartwell," she said. "I was just calling for a tow truck, but they said it would take 2 hours." Jake smiled reassuringly. "Before you spend that kind of money, why don't I take a quick look? Maybe it's something simple." Elena hesitated, then sighed. "Honestly, I'd appreciate it. I'm already late for an important meeting." Jake leaned under the hood, scanning the engine with practiced eyes. Within seconds, he spotted the problem, a loose battery connection. He tightened it, wiped his hands on a rag, and straightened up. "Good news," he said. "It's just a loose terminal. You're all set." Elena blinked in surprise as the engine purred back to life. "You're a lifesaver, Mr. Morrison. How much do I owe you?" Jake waved it off. "Please, call me Jake. You don't owe me a thing. It only took 5 minutes." Elena frowned. "I can't let you work for free." Jake smiled softly, glancing at the little girl who was now grinning at him through the car window. "I've got a daughter about your age. I know how much it means to keep things running smooth when you're taking care of a kid. Consider it one parent helping another." The girl rolled down her window, her voice full of sweetness. "Thank you, Mr. Jake. My name's Lily, and I think you're very nice." Jake chuckled. "Well, Lily, that's a beautiful dress you're wearing." Lily beamed. "Do you have a daughter too?" "I do," Jake said. "Her name's Sophie. She's 7, just like you." Elena smiled for the first time that day, relief and gratitude softening her face. "Thank you, Jake. Truly. You've saved my day." Jake nodded. "Glad I could help." Just then, Lily piped up again, full of childish boldness. "Mommy, maybe Mr. Jake and his daughter can come have dinner with us. That would be a good thank you." Elena flushed slightly, caught off guard. But then she looked at Jake and smiled. "Actually, that's not a bad idea. Would Saturday evening work?" Jake hesitated for a second, then agreed with a small grin. "Saturday sounds great." That weekend, Jake and Sophie arrived at Elena's home. The table was set beautifully, and the smell of homemade food filled the air. Lily and Sophie became instant friends, laughing as they drew pictures together on the living room floor. Over dinner, Jake learned that Elena was a corporate lawyer who'd been raising Lily alone after her divorce. Like Jake, she understood what it meant to carry everything on your own shoulders, the work, the parenting, the loneliness. As the night went on, they talked easily, the kind of conversation that feels natural from the start. When Jake and Sophie finally left, both mothers and daughters felt something warm, something hopeful. Weeks passed, and dinner became a regular tradition. The two families began spending more and more time together, Sunday picnics, movie nights, helping with homework. Jake and Elena found in each other what they didn't realize they were missing: comfort, laughter, and the quiet certainty of trust. One evening, Lily ran up to Jake holding a drawing. "Mr. Jake, I drew us fixing the car. See, you, Mommy, and me, all happy." Jake smiled at the crayon figures, touched by the simple joy of it. Then Lily leaned close and whispered, "I think you should marry my mommy." She smiles more when you're here. And Sophie could be my sister. Jake's heart tightened with emotion. That's a big idea, Lily, he said gently. But you might be onto something. 6 months later, that something had grown into love. On a bright Saturday afternoon, exactly 1 year after that fateful car repair, Jake knelt beside the same black sedan and held out a ring. Elena, he said, voice steady but full of feeling, a year ago, I thought I was just helping a stranger. But you and Lily became the missing piece of our lives. You made Sophie and me a family again. Tears filled Elena's eyes as she said yes. Nearby, Sophie and Lily squealed with excitement, hugging each other and shouting, "We're sisters now." At the wedding 6 months later, both girls walked down the aisle as flower girls, scattering petals and joy. During the reception, Lily handed Jake another drawing, this time of 4 stick figures holding hands under a giant red heart. "Remember when I told you to marry mommy?" she said proudly. Jake smiled and lifted her up in a hug. "I remember, sweetheart. You were right." Lily giggled. "I told you I'm good at knowing what people need." Jake looked around at his new family, his heart full. "Yes, Lily," he said softly. "You really are." And in that moment, Jake understood that sometimes the most important repairs aren't made to engines, but to hearts. And that the smallest act of kindness can build the family you never knew you were missing.